We are live this hour in Kuwait City, the White House in Washington and in Tehran. Let's begin with Al Jazeera's Ali Hashem, who is in the Iranian capital. So, Ali, Iran's supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, addressed the nation today. Tell us more about what he said.
Well, Mujtaba Khamenei's second major statement since he was elected as a new supreme leader for Iran was at the occasion of the Iranian New Year, the Nowruz. And given the occasion, it was mainly internal, highlighted the periods that Iran went through in the past year, from the war in June 2025 to the internal strife January 2026, and now the current war. It was clear that he, through this message, wanted to maintain a kind of an internal unity. He was concentrating more on the internal front, because to him the internal front is much more important when he's facing an external war. So we saw a lot of messaging when it came to the inside, trying to highlight the importance of unity, the importance of not listening to foreign media, not listening to foreign signaling and propaganda and messaging. However, there were some parts of the message where he messaged the region. He spoke to his neighbors in Pakistan and Afghanistan, calling on them to unite, not to fight, and that he is ready to play a role in that. And also, with respect to the current war, saying that his country and the armed forces did not attack Turkey and Oman, and that the Israelis are trying to create rifts between Iran and its neighbors. However, it was clear that he sees a challenge, he sees a gap between Iran and its neighbors. So there were a lot of parts of this message where he was kind of messaging, signaling positively to the neighbors, but mainly the letter was about standing still, about resilience, about defiance, and how Iran can pass through this very sensitive interval.
Ali, I'll be back with you in just a moment. Let's bring in our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett. Kimberly, President Trump says there's no one in Iran for him to talk to. Surely that's a direct consequence of the strategy that the US and Israel are pursuing right now.
Yeah, that's right. The U.S. president early on in this conflict had said that the United States is talking with Iran, but they aren't ready to make a deal to end the war. Now what we're hearing is that there's no one to talk to because no partner or counterpart exists. Why is the U.S. president saying this? Well, he's really signaling two things. Number one, he is making the justification to the American public and the world for continued military action because there is no one else to negotiate with. But he's also framing the war as being successful, at least in his mind, because the leadership structure in Iran is gone. Take a listen to what the U.S. president had to say.
They don't know what's happening. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is all gone, it's all gone, their radar is all gone, their leaders are all gone, the next set of leaders are all gone, and the next set of leaders are mostly gone. And now nobody wants to be a leader over there anymore. We're having a hard time. We want to talk to them, and there's nobody to talk to. We have nobody to talk to. And you know what? We like it that way.
Kimberly, there are reports that the president is thinking about sending more soldiers to the Middle East. What do we make of that?
Yeah, well, what we make of it is that the U.S. president is telegraphing that possibility. What he has said in previous interviews is that he's not going to put any troops on the ground, but if he was going to, he wouldn't telegraph that in advance. Now, what we have to do then is take a look at the military movements that are occurring right now, and that is giving us the clearest signal yet that there is, in fact, some sort of ground troop deployment that is planned. Number one, we have 3 ships, an expeditionary unit of about 2,500 Marines headed to the region. That's in addition to 2,200 Marines that are on an amphibious assault ship also heading to the region. It's the USS Tripoli. Now, in addition to the USS Tripoli, we also know that there are A-10 Warthog jets as well as Apache attack helicopters also being deployed. What does this say in this entirety? Well, there's only one reason that those jets and those helicopters would be deployed, and that is to support ground troops in close air support. So the bottom line in all of this is that the U.S. president is being vague. But what we do know is that the goal is to secure the strait. That is what these Marines would likely be doing. But if boots on the ground are deployed, Adrian, this is a major shift in the war and signals a new phase, one that is likely to be very unpopular with the American public.
Our White House correspondent Kimberly Halkett reporting live from Washington. Iran's president said that his Persian New Year address that Tehran doesn't seek war with its neighbors. Masoud Pezeshkian is blaming Iran's enemies for regional tension.
We propose that to establish peace and stability in the region, a regional security structure be formed from Islamic countries, ensuring peace, security and stability. We do not need the presence of outsiders in the region. We can establish an Islamic assembly of the Middle East among the Islamic countries of the region, and within this assembly develop security, economic and cultural relations with one another. We must not fight each other or fall into the trap that has been laid for us.
Back to Ali Hashem in Tehran. What are we to make of that statement? Does the president speak for the Iranian military?
Well, now we're hearing many statements, many messaging, many signaling coming out from the Iranian top officials. The war is overwhelming everything. So any messaging will take into consideration the situation they're in. President Pezeshkian is also trying to show power there at this position, especially with a lot of controversy in the past over whether he is capable of running the situation. He is trying to prove that, especially when he is messaging the armed forces. The main issue here, the bottom line for the Iranian leadership as a whole, as an establishment, is that Iran should be signaling power outside, should be emphasizing resilience and defiance inside.
Al Jazeera's Ali Hashem reporting live from Iran's capital, Tehran. Many thanks, Ali. Iran launched a barrage of missiles into central Israel earlier on Friday. Explosions were reported as air defense systems were activated. At least one person was injured. The attack caused damage at several sites in the city of Rehovot. Earlier, strikes by Hezbollah injured 2 people in northern Israel. A Palestinian was injured after fragments of an intercepted Iranian missile struck an area near the walls of the Old City in occupied East Jerusalem. The fragments landed around 300 meters from the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Israeli police say that they were conducting searches to locate fallen parts of projectiles. And Iran has carried out another wave of attacks on regional countries. There have been drone and missile strikes across Kuwait, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. A refinery was struck in Kuwait for the second day that Iran has targeted Mina al-Ahmadi refinery. The state-owned oil company says that no one was killed or injured. The facility is a major oil export hub. Let's go live to Kuwait City. Al Jazeera's Malik Traina is there. Tell us more about that hit, the second hit on that oil refinery, Malik.
Yeah, Adrian. Well, the Al Ahmadi refinery, port refinery, is just about 30 kilometers to the south in this direction to where I'm standing. You know, authorities yesterday said they worked throughout the night to put that fire out just for another attack this morning. That they say damaged one unit. They had to suspend operations. Nobody was injured. But, you know, according to the Ministry of Defense, the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense, in the last 24 hours, they detected 1 ballistic missile, which was intercepted and destroyed, and 25 drones, which were detected within Kuwaiti airspace. They destroyed 15 of them, and they say that 8 fell in an empty area, which didn't pose a threat. But 2 drones hit the Al Ahmadi refinery port, and just it shows the escalation of this conflict. And we've seen an array of attacks, retaliation attacks from Iran today. The UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, all receiving drones and missile attacks today that they say they were dealing with, and the vast majority were intercepted.
Malik, the head of Qatar Energy has been speaking about the recent Iranian attack on the country's Ras Laffan facility. What did he have to say?
Yeah, well, I mean, he said that in the last, after this evacuation, there was an evacuation order, and they pulled out more than 10,000 workers in 24 hours as a safety measure. There's also planned expansions in the North Field. They say that could be delayed more than a year. Look, I think, officials in this region were warning about the escalation of this before it happened, when negotiations were taking place in Oman, to bring up about a negotiation. But the Americans, the Israelis, went on and attacked and attacked Iran. People have been warning about this. Nobody here wants to see an escalation. That Ras Laffan is the largest LNG facility in the world. About 20% of liquid natural gas comes from Qatar. They said that the damages were extensive. They've lost 17% capacity. It could take 3 to 5 years to repair that. And it's estimated $20 billion annually of lost revenue. I mean, the oil sector is the bread and butter. It's the engine that keeps the tires rolling in these economies throughout the Gulf. Nobody here wants to see, we heard about Kimberly talking about a possible ground invasion. I mean, that could possibly be lead to a prolonged conflict. People look at what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan and all the years that those wars went on. People here just want a swift end to this. They want de-escalation. They want negotiations that bring about a path towards long-time stability in this region.
Malik, Traina reporting live from Kuwait City. Malik, many thanks.